ridicule of the clergy, miscegenation, and any inference of sex perversion on screen. Sodomites, perverts, inverts, deviants, degenerates, queers, fairies, fruits, dykes, faggots, gay men, and lesbians, these Americans were morally damned, medically pathologized, their very being legally prescribed. A few words about words. The terms I employ in this audiobook to describe gay men and lesbians will roughly correspond with those that prevailed at the time of the events I recount. During the 1940s and 50s, the media, government, medical establishment, and gay people themselves tended to use homosexual as a neutral epithet for gay men and lesbians, though the label often denoted gay males exclusively. By the middle of the 1960s, and especially after the Stonewall Uprising of 1969, gay men and lesbians began to adopt gay as a self-affirming alternative to homosexual, which acquired a clinical connotation and fell into disfavor. For brevity's sake, gays and gay people will sometimes be used interchangeably with gay men and lesbians. Queer, which most gay and straight people considered pejorative during the period covered by this audiobook, will appear in this program only as such. Consequently, the manifestations of their likeness and the ways they signaled it to one another had to be disguised, insinuated, and covert. The precise color of an article of clothing, the holding of another's gaze from across a crowded room, a knowing turn of phrase, an esoteric cultural reference, such were the means by which these men and women communicated the crime of their common existence, and over time they would develop their own vernacular, rituals, gathering places, and codes of behavior. As Washington grew both in size and significance, they would ineluctably come to populate a secret city, one hidden within the official open one. At first, few of those inhabiting this clandestine society understood themselves as members of a community, in the way constituents of more formal polities feel solidarity with others who speak the same language, worship the same God, or live on the same patch of land. For what united these disparate individuals, what connected them to one another as well as to generations past and future, was not a common tongue, religion, or nationality, but something that society condemned, such that what they shared was a status as pariahs, an invisible thread connecting their experiences, one of fear and fixation about same-sex desire, therefore runs through our nation's history. The origins of this theme can be traced at least as far back as the country's War of Independence. Baron Friedrich Wilhelm Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von Steuben was a veteran of the 7 Years' War and of the exclusively male court of King Frederick the Great of Prussia when Founding Father Benjamin Franklin recruited him to the American Revolutionary cause in 1778. Fleeing charges that he had taken familiarities with young men, von Steuben arrived at Valley Forge just 16 days after a court-martial overseen by General George Washington drummed Lieutenant General Gotthold Frederick Enslin out of the Continental Army for the same crime. Pierre L'Enfant, the French-born architect whom Washington entrusted with designing the new nation's capital, was a lifelong bachelor described as sensitive in style and dress and as having an artistic and fragile temperament. Though the identity connoted by these euphemisms would not be classified as a social category until the late 19th century, the association of sexual and gender nonconformity with moral degeneracy is a political tactic as old as the Republic itself. Before Thomas Jefferson and John Adams became great friends and political allies, a newspaper publisher supporting the former accused the latter of possessing a hideous hermaphroditical character, which has neither the force and firmness of a man nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. Claims of homosexuality have been made upon one of our worst and one of our greatest presidents. The unmarried James Buchanan spent so much time with a fellow bachelor, Alabama Senator William Rufus King, that Buchanan's critics sneered that the two must be lovers. An academic study published in 2019 argues that they were no more than bosom friends. The 4 years that Buchanan's successor, Abraham Lincoln, spent as a young lawyer sharing a bed with another man, Joshua Speed, the passionate letters they exchanged, and the close relationship Lincoln formed with his presidential bodyguard have led some to conclude that the man whose liberations of others earned him renown as